This is Amateur Logic, episode 78 for May 15th, 2015. Dayton Hamvention. This episode of Amateur Logic was brought to you by MFJ, the world leaders in ham radio accessories at mfjenterprises.com, by ICOM. Out from the shack and into the sun, brighten your day with ICOM. And by DX Engineering, offering practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. In-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com. Well, hi, and welcome to AmateurLogic.tv, episode, what is this, 78, Tommy?
78.
Live from Dayton Hamvention from the ICOM booth. Say hello, everyone. Now, there's more people than you see in that shot there, but we don't have a cameraman up there running the camera, so we can't pan around. I see a couple of hands up there, though, so we appreciate you all being here with us tonight. Boy, it's going to be a great show. We got a lot of fun things lined up for you, a lot of great guests, and glad that you decided to stop by for a few minutes on this Saturday afternoon to visit with us. I haven't been out in the flea market today. Is it raining or is it good flea market weather out there?
Just a little sprinkle, that's about it.
A little sprinkle. That's not bad then. Last year was horrible. It really came down. Yesterday it came down for a little bit too. So appreciate you being here. Tommy, I guess, we need to get this thing rolling. Why don't we get some celebrities to come in here and visit with us just a little bit. I think maybe that would help out the show some.
Yeah, let's do that.
Who do you think we should get?
How about Rockin' Ray?
Rockin' Ray. Oh boy, bring him on in here.
Rockin' Ray.
Here's his classic.
Do I need to strike a pose?
You do.
Thank you very much. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll have.
I don't know. That doesn't quite sound like me.
Is that enough of that? Let's see.
I think that was more than enough.
More than enough. Well, Ray, we appreciate ICOM hosting Amateur Logic here at Dayton this year.
Well, I'm glad you're able to come into my playground this time instead of me coming into Jackson all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, we come to Hamvention, but this is the first time we've done a live stream from here, and we're recording this as well, and it'll be a special episode of Amateur Logic. We're planning on going 2 hours this afternoon if nobody passes out and the feds don't show up. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, tell us, what's Hamvention been like for you here this year? I know you had a special announcement that right before the show here. Tell us about that.
Well, I know everybody's seen the chaos getting set up for this, and those that are going to be watching the recording won't get to see the entertainment that we did. But if you take that 2-hour window and start it on Monday of this week and end it tomorrow about 4 o'clock, that's the way Hamvention has been. But It's good to see a lot of these people out here just coming in for it. The lab coats that we're wearing, that you guys are wearing, we're mad scientists. We've been working in the lab for the last couple of months, coming up with a firmware update for the 7600. So instead of introducing a brand new radio, it's new firmware to take an older radio into a new radio again.
Well, if that firmware is as hot as these lab coats are, it's got to be good.
And you guys just put them on.
I know.
We've been wearing them since Friday morning.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel for you.
So you told us about the 7600 there. What else has been going on? What's been the talk in the booth here this year so far?
Other than taking off these hot jackets?
Yeah.
What is Amateur Logic TV? There have been a lot of people curious about what's going to be going on the stage here. And those that haven't watched it before, after 10 years,
After 10 years, people haven't seen it.
well, not all of them.
Yeah, true. I think there's a few out there. Tommy, do you see anybody wearing the colors with their official Amateur Logic?
If you got the
Shirts on.
colors on, raise your hand.
There we go.
There
There's
we
a
go.
T-shirt over there.
Yeah, there's one
Oh,
there.
yeah, see.
I saw a couple of caps earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw several yesterday.
several
So-
yesterday. Well, we've got several of these lab coats here that we're going to be giving some away here to the crowd, and going to give away some online as well to everyone out there. Give them an opportunity to win something too. Why don't we get started here, and let's see.
And I will be exiting stage right. Or
You
is that
exit.
stage left?
No, everybody's exiting stage right and entering stage right because we've got this light over here that's been hitting everyone in the head. So that's probably the best idea. But we want to get you back in for the close here. So we'll have you come in and do a play-by-play wrap-up on things.
Okay.
All right, Ray. Well, we got our first guest about to come up here. We'll be back in just a minute. Let's just take a look at something Tommy and I shot here. Oh, when was it? It was yesterday.
Yesterday morning. We ran into Dave, KB9VZU. Hey, Dave.
Hey, good to see you, Tommy. Glad you guys had a good trip up.
Yeah, you do the Ham Nation D-Star net, right?
That's correct. We do that on 14 Charlie every Wednesday evening about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And myself and K8JTK Jeff and Alan in Tomby Bay, Australia. He can hook you up on some Vegemite. And his call is BK5PBZ.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, we had a little experience with Vegemite before. I think we're pretty well past that now.
There is a store that carries it here, so if you guys want to get away and get some, I can hook you up.
Well, we have to find some scrumpets or whatever to put it on.
There you go. Now, I was doing a couple of laps around here, and this is my second lap, and I ran into you, and I've been looking for the Peter swag, and I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, man, that little slip of the lip's going to probably live with me for a long time.
Next year, somebody's missing out because there's money to be made.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was good talking to you.
Hello everyone and a warm welcome from Melbourne, Australia. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Peter and I'm licensed as VK3PB here in Victoria. George, Tommy and I make a vidcast once a month called Amateur Logic. Now a vidcast is like a TV show that you download off the internet. And you can find us at YouTube, or you can download directly from our website at www.amateurlogic.tv. Now, I'm terribly sorry that I can't be with you this year. Maybe in a future year I'll be able to get over to Dayton. We'll just have to see. But I understand that Dayton has got a great swap meet outside, lots of commercial exhibitors, but the best thing, I think, is that chance to meet up with amateurs that you might have spoken with over the years, or maybe old friends that you haven't seen for a while. Anyway, have a great time at Dayton this year, and 73s from Peter, VK3PB.
All right, 7-3, and thanks for that, Peter. You know, I wish he could be here with us.
Yeah, we're going to get him here one day.
You know, we're just trying to get him back on a plane right now. He's got fear of flying, although he's accumulated how many millions of air miles?
Enough to come over here and back.
Yeah, so he may be coming to the United States soon to visit with us and see different parts of the country and even come down around the Jackson area and visit with us a little bit.
Yeah, he's supposed to come around October. That's going to be our 10th year anniversary.
Cool.
So-
That'd be good if he could be here for that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, our first official guest here, because we're not going to count Ray, is Michael Coulter from Dayton Hamvention. Michael, it's good to see you again.
It's good to be here. See everybody.
Michael, we appreciate y'all doing Hamvention here every year. It's the best ham fest in the world. There's some folks over in Germany that would argue with that, but at least in the United States, this is the best one.
Well, I like all the hamventions I've been to. Hamcation, hear a lot of good things about Huntsville. And we're all partners in this. It doesn't matter who's the biggest, who's the best. It's the one you go to where you have fun. You know what I mean? You got to have fun and see your friends there. So we're really excited about it.
Well, that's great. Y'all had me here a couple of years ago I won a special achievement award, and I really appreciate that. And it's sitting on the mantle at the house there. And I know you've got some great award winners this year. We're going to have one in here with us after a while, but we won't reveal who that is just yet because the presentation hasn't taken place. That'll be tomorrow's when the awards are.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock here tomorrow, we will have the awards given publicly. We'll have a private event tonight for their families and close friends where we give the awards out to. And it was a real honor to have George do that, win that award, and be with us. He definitely deserved it. So that is a hard award to win because we go through so many candidates. How about a big round of applause for this guy? I mean, he really puts his heart and soul into it. I mean, he's the man.
Oh, thank you. I just appreciate it, and I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting that at all. So anything special you can tell us about this year's Hamvention?
Well, I think is everybody having a good time? We'll do that one first. Are we having a good time with Hamvention? Are we? Thank you. You know, there's two ways you can look at Hamvention. You can look at it and complain, or you can look at it and come home with a story.
Yep.
And you know, if you don't have a story with Hamvention, sorry, you missed Hamvention. I remember a few years ago, I was general chairman of this event, and it had a very unfortunate plumbing accident. So I hear about that year after year after year. But, you know, it happens. So other new things, we have a lot of international guests here today, a lot of internationals. And we are pleased that that's happening. So when you get a chance, say hello to them. And I hope that everything's going good. And when you're at some of the doorways, take a look at what Hera is planning on doing in the renovation for next year. So we're excited about that as well. So at some of the doorways, they have pictures of what this place will look like in 2016.
Okay, so there actually are some plans underway to do some mods here.
That's what we were told. The ownership met with myself and the general chairman, and they are planning on making some modifications here. They put out the news, and they've got pictures of those modifications. We don't own a facility; we rent it, but so we're excited to hear that. Very excited to hear that, because that's the biggest question I get: what's going to happen here?
Y'all, why don't we have a big hand here for hopefully some improvements here at the Hera Arena. I know everyone's bound to be on board with that. That'll be great. So we're looking forward to that. Michael, anything else? I know you mentioned the international visitors. Tommy and I visited with a lot of them last year, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did. It's interesting. There's people from all over the world.
Yeah. We haven't had the opportunity to this year. We've been kind of tied down with things like this and some of the Ham Nation stuff going on. But how many countries do you think are represented this year?
You know, that's going to be a guess on my part, but I would guess at least probably around 30 or more. And I've had people ask me from other parts of the world, how do you put on an event like this? And I want to tell you something about this event. For those of you who don't know, we have all volunteers from the general chairman all the way down to I won't say down, but all across the board. People driving the golf carts, people that work in here and help you with inside exhibits, people that are doing things all year long. Don't get paid a cent for it. We just rent this facility and we buy other important things. That, you know, like fire, EMS, garbage disposal, you know, those sorts of things. And so we are really excited about that, and that is what confounds. When I was over in Friedrichshafen a few years ago, the Germans were saying, how in the world do you get volunteers to do that? We get volunteers to do that because our people around Dayton and volunteers that come from everywhere are passionate about Hamvention. Just as all of you are passionate about Hamvention. You come a long ways, you make sacrifices, and you're here having a good time. So that's very important to me, that this isn't a one-man show. It is a team of men and women who put this together.
Oh, I can guarantee you it's that. There's no way one or two people or even a small group could put it. I guess it takes all of DARA really to bring this together, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It takes all of DARA to put it together. And we have I have a volunteer this year that came from Dubai, and he's just eager to do whatever he can do to help out. And we have visitors here from India, a big contingent from India, and they're wanting to put on shows like this. So that's we aren't the example. We're just somebody that's doing it. We're a club that's doing it. And by the way, the club of the year this year was the Orlando Club, the club that puts on Hamcation. And if you've ever been to Hamcation, what a wonderful event that is. That's a must-see event as well.
Yeah, and another big one in my part of the country is Huntsville. That's a pretty good ham fest too.
I'm planning on getting down to Huntsville. Your general chairman, he's here, and he's been hounding me. You're coming, you're coming, you're coming. So we'll probably have a booth down there, and hope to see all of you that are going to go down to Huntsville.
Yeah, they've got a good team there that puts that together, just like y'all here. It really takes a good team that knows how to put on these kind of events to keep them consistently growing and getting better every year.
Yeah, that's true. And you talk about teams. I'll mention when we get down to Huntsville, I always like to rib them about the Ohio State Buckeyes. So.
Well, Michael, anything else you want to tell us?
It's people like you guys that, they're also very much a pillar of amateur radio. We're communicators. And what George does and his team is absolutely fabulous, all year long to put these kind of shows on, have this kind of equipment, and just dedicate themselves to it is just amazing. And so I ask all of you, think about how you give back to amateur radio. What do I do to give back to amateur radio? And there's a lot of different ways, and I think a lot of you do in small ways and big ways. But I hope you're having a good time, and I hope that the accommodations are all right, and I hope you're enjoying Dayton, Ohio.
Well, Michael, we appreciate you visiting with us. It's really good to see you again, and I hope to visit with some of the other staff members that I've met over the years out here. And boy, let's just hear a hand here for Michael and the whole crew at DARA that puts this on each year.
It's pretty easy to see the dedication your whole staff has here. Everyone from the people working in the snack bar all the way down to the security at the door.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And even we try to do the added touches with, the golf carts, so that when you're worn out and you're tired, we got those golf carts out there to help you. Or, and I think all of our staff is extremely friendly. I hope they are. So thank you, and thank you for being here. And you guys, you're the greatest. Thank you for having me. So with that, 73s.
Thanks for joining us.
73, Michael. Now there's a VNA analyzer with features never before found in a low-cost handheld analyzer, the new MFJ 226 Antenna Expert. Covering 1 MHz to 230 MHz with 1 Hz resolution, this MFJ Time Technology Vector Network Analyzer features open short load calibration, true reactance including its sign, and a lot more. OSL calibration allows you to make measurements with exceptional accuracy by correcting the feed line loss and phase angle. No other analyzer in this price range can offer this, and you can store OSL calibrations of your test cables or feed line at different frequencies for future use. Signed reactance measurements let you know instantly if reactance is capacitive or inductive. Single frequency mode presents an unusually wide range of load information, including SWR, frequency, impedance magnitude, series and parallel impedance, resistance plus reactance, S1, rectangular and polar, capacitance, and inductance. Swept frequency mode generates, displays, and captures accurate plots of frequency versus SWR, impedance, resistance, reactance, return loss S11, and phase angle. Plot a Smith chart to show S11 magnitude and phase angle over any frequency span you specify. A movable crosshair tracks the plot and displays S11 magnitude and phase angle at any frequency. 32 memory channels let you capture screens of measurements made in the field for download into your PC via the mini USB port. The MFJ 226 has both the hefty feel and advanced performance of a professional field service instrument, costing hundreds or even thousands of dollars more. This analyzer pulls together the latest advances in RF technology and delivers them at a price you can afford. Learn more about the MFJ 226 and all their great antenna analyzers. Visit mfjenterprises.com today. Tommy, I've been having trouble getting the email here on my cell phone.
Yeah, I've got a Verizon and an AT&T phone, and I barely have any data on either one of them here.
Yeah, that's one of the problems here at Hamvention in the Howard Arena. You can't hardly get any kind of internet signal at all. So we got something special here to bring you the show today.
Yeah, these Exceed satellite dishes, man, they really work pretty well.
They do. You know, Bob Hall uses one at his home in Pleasant Hope, Missouri, because he doesn't have any other way to get internet out there, and it does a really respectable job.
Yeah, I'd see Bob on Skype on Ham Nation, and I thought satellite and latency was a problem for Skype, but it seems to work pretty well for him.
Yeah, it really does. You know, I mean, I'm not going to throw out my cable internet to go with this, because I'm sure that, you know, I've got a good signal there and it'd be hard to beat. But, you know, if you've got a slower DSL, or particularly you people that live out in the country or in an area that's not served by a broadband provider, I think this is a perfect solution right here.
Yeah, me too. So in about 50 years, when I'm able to retire, this is the guys I'm going to have to call when I get my place up in the mountains.
Yeah, cool. EXEDE. Check them out. They're helping us bring you the show today, and it really is a good solution, particularly for those who've just been kind of like stuck in the dial-up world or slow DSL.
Yeah, check them out. It's a great service. I was being kind of optimistic with that 50 years estimate.
Yeah, you were, weren't you? Well, we've got our next guest here. It's our old friend Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB. Joe, it's always good to see you out here, Dayton.
And it's always nice to see you, George and Thomas. You know, it's good to see both of you together and really enjoy the Hamvention.
Well, that's great. Does anyone out there recognize this guy here? Have you ever seen him before? Maybe you've seen his hat. The cat in the hat there. And Joe, you are, you're a regular contributing, what do you call it, author?
Yes, for the ARL Handbook now. The Construction Techniques chapter of the ARL Handbook. I am updating over the years. I've already completed my third one, and progressively replacing old content with new content. So I am now a handbook author as well.
That's awesome.
As well as the monthly column in CQ magazine. And I hope everybody reads my kit building column in CQ and learns all about the latest in kits.
Well, Joe, you know, I've learned about several different kits from you, and after I did, I went and built them myself, and you seem to pick out the good ones.
Well, I try. I try and get kits that are easy to build, quick to put together, less frustration, things like that. In fact, at my kit building forum here yesterday, I talked about one that has probably the least easy instructions I think I've ever seen to read. It's kind of Chinese English, but the kit is only $12, and it's only about that big. And what it does is it tests components. It says transistor tester on it, but that's not all what it does. It tests anything. It has 3 wires, 3 clip leads that come out of it. You clip a resistor between any of the 2 leads. It tells you, oh, that's a resistor, and this is what its value is. You put an inductor on it. It tells you it's an inductor, and it tells you which leads it was on. If you plug a diode into it on any of the 2 leads, it tells you which lead is which, and what the voltage drop is, and the reverse current, and things like that. It's just amazing. And then transistors, it'll tell you if it's NPN, PNP, what the beta is, which is the gain. Capacitors, it tells you the capacitance, and it also tells you the equivalent series resistance. It's $12, and you just hook it up. It tells you what kind of transistor it is. It tells you what kind of part it is. And it's great, especially when you're building kits and the numbers are rubbed off or something and you can't figure out what it is. It tests it. It'll tell you exactly what it is.
So is that like the little fish device that we've seen out there that has a display and a little ZIF socket?
Yes, it's like that, but in kit form for $12. It's just amazing. And even a newer kit builder can probably put it together in an hour and a half.
Cool. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, the other one's already assembled, but it looks like it would be a simple little kit, and it basically it's using a microcontroller to
yeah. It
to
looks
do
like
those
it looks like
measurements,
it's similar to an Arduino.
Yeah.
And it analyzes the part, and it's just fantastic. It's a great little tool, and if you're really going to be building kits, this is the thing you're going to have.
Yeah, it sounds like a good one to get your feet wet if you want to try a little kit building.
Yeah. Well, what else have you seen here today? I mean, or even yesterday? What's are you finding new at Dayton, or what's kind of tickling your fancy?
Well, in terms of kits, I see that Quicksilver Radio has a little, it looks like a Pixie type kit for $25. It's also a pretty simple kit, and it's a CW transceiver for 40 meters. And it's just a little tiny thing, and it looks like it can't take more than an hour to put it together, if that. And then we can go from that tiny kit all the way up to the big ones. I know there was the K3S announcement, and that's in kit form as well. I've also seen there was if you go to QRP Me, he has a new version of the Rockmite, which is a classic kit, and he has a metal case that goes right with it, and he can even get it to you in the color so it matches old Heathkit gear. But it's a tiny little half a watt CW transceiver, and it has a keyer built into it, and it's programmable. It's pretty
Cool.
amazing, and that's pretty inexpensive as well. It's about $50 for that kit.
That sounds pretty cool.
Do you buy anything that's already built?
Oh, I buy a few things. I have an ICOM 7600 also, which I truly enjoy. In fact, I'm looking forward to Ray's firmware upgrade for that. So I do have that as well. I do have a lot of kit radios that I've built over the years, and they're a lot of fun to take out, especially on field day.
I know you speak at a lot of Hamfest. What's the latest one you were at?
The latest one before this, I have to think about that. But there have been quite a few. This year, I've been to Orlando, Branson, Houston, a couple in the Des Moines area, Lincoln, Nebraska, which is where I'm from. Several all over the country.
So what's coming on in the future?
In the future, my next one that I'm flying to will be Huntsville, and so of course I'll see you guys there.
Yeah.
Are you going to HamCon?
Yes, I am. I forgot about that one.
I may see you there. It's a
about
chance.
3 weeks away, and I will be at HamCom. I have to be in Cleveland for a week for work before that, and then that week I will go on to Dallas, and this is the first time I've spoken there in maybe 30 years.
Wow. Well, Joe, we appreciate what you do in the kit building arena.
Oh, and by the way, we had a kit build last night.
Oh, you did? Tell us about that.
Yeah, we did a group kit build. The kit was designed by Rex, W1REX, who does the tuna tin kits and that Rockmite I told you about. And it was a 4-segment kit. We did 3 of the 4. There was a low voltage RF probe. There was a signal generator and a QRP dummy load. And you could use those together and test any kind of QRP radio. So it was a great kind of a suite of things that you can use for working on kits. So it was a whole lot of fun, and we had about 40 builders last night, and so it was great.
Did you have any kids there?
Yes, we had several. We had 3 or 4 kids that were building, and that was neat to see. I know when I was in Friedrichshafen, they have a lot of kids building kits there, and they do it a little differently. Instead of soldering parts on a circuit board, they take a block of wood and then they put a sticker over it with black circles, and then they pound brass tacks onto it. And then they put dabs of solder on each one, and then they solder the parts right to the tacks, kind of like Manhattan style.
Cool. Well, Joe, it's always great to visit with you. You know, you kind of, I don't know, kind of a kindred spirit, I guess. You know, we both have smelled plenty of the rosin over the years.
Yes, we have.
And looking forward to a lot more of it. We really appreciate you dropping by here. Any final words before we move on?
Just want everybody to remember that radios are fun, and it's even more fun when you get to build it yourself.
Thanks, Joe. I ran into Bill AA7XT here at the Innov Antenna booth. Bill, you've got something really neat here this year. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's the Rotator Genius, and it's a world debut. It's a universal rotator controller. It's this little black box here, but you don't control it from the box. There's no push buttons. You control it from an Android device like this or a Windows PC, and you can control it remotely over the internet, over your local area network, or through Wi-Fi. Right now, we're controlling this alpha spin rotator up here, and you just pick an azimuth, say go 72 degrees. There we go, we should be turning. There we go, we're going clockwise. When it gets to 72 degrees, it's going to stop. And the way it knows it's going to be at 72 degrees is we've got a magnetic sensor connected to the boom. You can see the little box there. It's one of these. And it's not counting pulses, it's not a potentiometer, it's a Hall effect device like you have in your smartphone, detecting the Earth's magnetic field. So it gets to 72 degrees, it tells the Rotator Genius to stop. It'll work with any rotator, any brand, any voltage, AC, DC.
Well, that's really cool, Bill. Appreciate you showing that to us. That's a totally different way of controlling your rotor.
Well, it's we have a whole line of products coming, designed by Ranco Boca 4 Oscar 3 Alpha, made in Europe, that all are network aware, work over your network locally, remotely. We'll run on Android, we'll run on Windows. So it's a whole new generation of products we're very excited about.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, George.
Okay, we got one more guest here. A few of you may recognize, whether you've seen him before or not. There's a good chance you've heard him. It's Ted Randall, WB8PUM. Ted, good to have you with us today.
You said I might have to hold this.
You might have to hold that, yes.
Well, there's a $100 bill underneath this thing here. What's
Yeah,
that?
that's your payment. Yeah, that's.
You said you had a kind of a feedback issue or something here, so.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of feedback, and that mic stand's kind of short.
I'll hold it this way here if that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, in case you don't recognize him, Ted is a shortwave broadcaster. He's a broadcast engineer too, but we probably know him as a shortwave broadcaster on the QSO radio show. Ted, tell us a little bit about the show.
Well, QSO, we started this thing about, I don't know, must have been 10 years ago. You know, it was, and at first the show didn't have any name. we went months with no name for a show. We just, hey folks, we were here. And we did, just basically interviews with hams. But I was looking for the story of the ham more than the story of the technology.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, the individual story.
There goes your $100.
How did you get in this hobby? How did you hear about it? And so on and so forth. And then talk to them about their family and their occupation and all these different things that we were, we get into. And so finally we got to the point where we said, we got to name this show something. And finally, it just kind of hit like, well, actually, all it is a QSO. So that's what that became
the perfect name,
the QSO radio show. Yeah, and we've continued that. And then, of course, we did the broadcasting from Dayton and from Huntsville. And then on field day, we go live, and we have people call in from all over the country and talk about their field day operations. And probably some of the most interesting conversation is about what they're serving for lunch and dinner. And some places actually have like a chef. I mean, there's some guy in that ham club that's a cook, and they've got their big, huge crock pot being used as a dummy load, from the so they got to keep the 3-500s tuned up to keep the beans cooking in the pot. So
that's incentive to stay on the air then, I guess.
There you go, yeah. So the show has been a lot of fun, but one thing that I will say this. I had a situation when I was younger, raising two sons, and like a lot of Americans and a lot of people, you go through a divorce, and it's kind of like, oh boy, But I wound up with two boys, and the privilege, I guess I want to say, of raising them as a single parent, and we were pretty depleted financially after fighting lawyers in custody. Like a lot of Americans wind up in those situations. And but what I was able to do was carry the kids with me to radio stations, and they'd go in and they'd help me work on transmitters. They helped me go in and do studio stuff and everything. And in the process of that, they found the fun, I guess I want to say, and the magic of amateur radio, and they were able to build projects, pull antennas up into trees, and learn about antenna length and frequency and all these things. And so now they both work in professional broadcast positions doing engineering work. My older son David with Trevecca Nazarene University in Nashville, who basically does all the RF and anything. They've got a couple of radio stations that they recently sold, but now the new company has got him taking care of those. He cared for them lock, stock, and barrel up until then. And then the younger son is Dave Ramsey's chief engineer for the Dave Ramsey Show, with their 500 radio stations, and he basically cares for everything that has to do with RF and all the stuff that goes with it, which is kind of cool. But ham radio has given them the edge.
Yeah.
They call Matt MacGyver at Dave Ramsey. They've got some names for David that implies basically the same thing, where they're able to just about do anything with very little of anything, and make something work that, where you normally would have to call in a tech support crew. They grab coat hangers and screwdrivers and things like that, and then things are made to work. But that's QSO is kind of a payback. In other words, what we're doing with QSO, which is basically it's a non-profit broadcast heard twice a week on shortwave, and then we've kind of resurrected the podcast side of it. And that is, it's just kind of like paying the hobby back for what it's done for us as a family. And of course now Holly, my wife, is the head of IT for the Cromwell Radio Group, and also the assistant chief engineer, which I'm the chief engineer there. And so we're hopeless. We're a bunch of radio nerds,
Well, when my son was young, we actually lived at a radio station. There was a house built right beside the station for the chief engineer to live in, and I thought it would rub off on him, but I was also a musician, and that's the part that rubbed off on him rather than the broadcasting.
Yeah, he definitely picked up that part.
Yeah, but he did get his amateur license here a couple of years back, so there's hope for him yet,
Well, the thing